Hi there, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another one of our 1949 games. As we've got the Indians at the Tigers, and one of the reasons why we are featuring this particular game is because at the moment the Cleveland Indians are in first place in the American League. They're at 7-2. The Red Sox and the Yankees are both at 8-4. And Larry Doby's up there for Cleveland, and he takes a ball. And of course, we're playing this game here in Detroit. The Red Sox and the Yankees, you probably watched their earlier game on this particular day. That was a pretty exciting game. One of the most exciting games I think I've ever played. Here's the next pitch to Doby, and he fouls that one off his foot. And takes a ball. Now the count is 2-1. But with the Red Sox and Yankees beating up on each other, there is a chance that the Indians can get to a little bit of a lead here in the American League. Remember, they are the world champions. Doby fouls another one off. It's a 2-2 count on him now, and fouls another one back. And there's another one fouled off. We're going to see a lot of those Ernie Harwell type play-by-play little snippets here about which one of the fans catches it, where the fan's from, and so on. And Doby winds up with a base hit. That's a base hit over there, over into left field that falls in front of Hoot Evers, and that's how this one starts. And here comes Lou Boudreau. This Tigers team is not a particularly good team. The Indians, though, were good. There's a ball to Boudreau. Fouls one back. 1-1 now the count on him. Lou hitting .429, hitting the cover off the ball. 2-1 now the count on him. There's a ball in at the belt buckle, and now the count is 3-1. And there's ball 4, and Ted Gray loses him, and that sends Larry Doby down to second base. Here comes Hal Peck, and this game might get out of control in a hurry. The first pitch here to Peck, that one's low. 1-0 the count. And there's a bunt in the air, and that one falls foul. Peck is an awful bunter. What is the computer doing with him? And the count now 1-2 as Peck takes a strike, and he jumps on a curveball and gets the base hit over to Johnny Groth in center field. And we are going to try to throw Doby out at home, and we get him. And so Larry Doby, very, very aggressively trying to score on that base hit, and Groth's throw does get him, and the score is still 0-0. There's one out here now in the top of the first inning. Here's Mickey Vernon. Mickey Vernon hitting at .222, takes a ball, and then a strike. 1-1 the count on him. There's a little ground ball over to Barry at second base. Flips over to shortstop to Lipon, and then over to first base to Campbell for the out, and that does the double play. Go to the bottom of the first inning, and here's George Kell hitting a clean .327. And he hits one foul. 0-1 now. The count now is 1-1. And that one's ripped into center field for a base hit, and Kell is the runner on first base, and here comes Johnny Groth, and here come those Tigers. There's a ball to Groth. 1-0 the count. Throw to first base, nothing doing. Another throw to first. And there's one that just dropped too far low. 2-0 now the count. And there's a fastball, misses inside. It's 3-0. And there's a little fly ball over to Mitchell in left field for the first out. Here comes Vic Wertz now. Werner's still on first base. There's a slider low. 1-0 the count. That one's hit a long way into center field over the head of Larry Doby, and Kell has a chance to score, and we're going to send him home. And that's a bad throw, and Wertz ends up moving over to third base on the throw, and it's 1-0 Tigers. That's not what we were expecting, but you never know. Any given day. Here's Hoot Evers takes the ball, and then another one. 2-0 the count now on Evers. Now it's 2-1 as he swings and misses that one. There's one that's fouled back, 2-2. There's a little roller over to first base. We're not going to try to have Wertz score. And Vernon kind of kicks it a little bit, but is able to recover in time and makes the play at first. We should have sent Wertz. I didn't know he was going to kick it. Aaron Robinson now, the catcher, who's not hitting all that well, and he gets a base hit cleanly, and that scores the second run. 2-0 Tigers now, and here's Paul Campbell. Boy, at the start of this one, I thought that the Cleveland Indians were going to come out of this one ripping and roaring. 0-2 the count on Paul, and there's a foul ball out of play. And there's a hard ground ball over to the right side. Vernon grabs it, flips over to the pitcher for the out, and that does it. And we go to the top of the second inning, and here is Dale Mitchell. Dale Mitchell comes up there, and he hits a little pop-up over to center field. Johnny Groth grabs it for the out, one away. Here's Bob Kennedy, and he takes a strike. 0-1 the count on him, and there's a ball. 1-1 now the count. And inside fastball just gets away. 2-1 now the count, and there's a line shot over to Groth again in center field, and he makes the out. 2 away. Here's Joe Gordon. And Gordon takes a ball, and then a strike. 1-1 the count. 1-2 now as Gordon fouls that one back, and he belts one into right field, and Vic Wertz goes back and grabs it for the out. We go to the bottom of the second inning now. Tigers still ahead, 2-0. 2-0 the count now on Johnny Lipon, and 2-1 as he takes a strike. That one's high and inside. 3-1 now the count. And it's over the plate and over the knees. Full count now on Johnny. that's popped over to the left-hand side, and Bob Kennedy makes the play for the first out. At third base, here's Neil Barry now, and he takes a ball, and he lines one to left field, just foul, 1-1 the count now. There's a ground ball over to first base. Vernon grabs it, runs to the bag, outruns Barry, and that's the second out, and here comes Ted Gray. There's a ball to Ted, and a strike, 1-1 the count. There's one that misses off the plate, 2-1 now, and Gray swings late on that one, 2-2 now. There's a couple foul balls, and another one foul back to the screen. And Wynn is able to strike him out at the end of that, and that ends the second inning. We go to the top of the third inning, still 2-0 Tigers, and here comes Jim Hegan. He takes a ball and a strike, 1-1 now the count. And there's Ted Gray missing with one high, 2-1 now the count. This is a little ground ball over to Kell at third base. He throws over to Campbell for the out pretty simply, one away. And here's early Wynn. Takes a strike, and then a ball, 1-1 now the count on Wynn. There's a little fly ball over to Wirtz in right field for the out, 2 away now. And here comes Larry Doby again. Swings and misses at a fastball, 0-1. And there's one foul back, 0-2 now the count. And there's a ball to him, 1-2. 2-2 now. There's a little ground ball over to Barry at second base, and he's eaten up by that bad hop, and they're going to call that a base hit. That's one of those plays now where it probably could have gone either way. I think that as I look at the game engine, that was probably caused just as much by Barry's poor rating as it was by anything against the pitcher, but it looks like a line drive in the box score, and here's Larry Doby on at first base. Lou Boudreau up there takes a ball way high, then shoots one over for third base just foul, and Kell probably feels pretty good about that one being foul. Boudreau ends up getting a base hit to the left side in the end, and that puts runners on first and second now for Hal Peck, hitting .313. He had a base hit last time as well. Peck goes the opposite way and hits one over to Evers in left field, and that does it, and we go to the bottom of the third inning. George Kell up there again, 1-for-1 today, and he has a 1-1 count on him. He takes a strike, 1-2 now. And there's a slider upstairs, 2-2. And there's a well-hit ball to left field. And Mitchell is able to go back and get that one just before it goes over the wall. And that's the first out. Here comes Johnny Groth, takes a ball. And there's a foul ball that goes straight back, 1-1 the count. He swats that one into center field that falls right in front of Larry Doby for the base hit. And Johnny Groth is the runner on first base. And here comes Vic Wirtz, runner on first base, 1 out, 2-0 Tigers, takes the ball. And there's another one low and outside, 2-0 now the count, 2-1 on Wirtz. And there's one off the plate, 3-1 is the count on him. And that's lone inside a slider, and that means Wirtz will be the runner on first base. And Hoot Evers comes up now with 2 on and only 1 out. The Tigers are roaring again. He takes a strike, and there's another strike, 0-2 the count on Hoot. And there's a foul ball, 0-2 the count still, and there's one in the inside corner for strike 3, and got him an early win, has his second strikeout of the game. Here's Aaron Robinson, fouls one off, 0-1 now the count, 1-1 now. And there's one fouled off to the left side, 1-2 now the count. There's a fly ball over to right field. Peck's got it for the out. We go to the top of the fourth inning, still 2-0 Tigers. And this is Mickey Vernon up there, takes a ball, and then a strike, 1-1 the count on him. And there's a fastball that snaps just right back and over the corner of the strike zone, and it's 1-2 as that one's called a strike. And there's one hit well into the air to Hoot Evers in left field for the out, and he's got it, 1 away. Here comes Dale Mitchell, takes a ball. And there's one grounded over to shortstop. Lipon's got it, throws over to Campbell for the out, 2 away. And here's Bob Kennedy. He takes a ball. And there's a fastball in there, 1-1 the count. And there's a ground ball over to Lipon, and he grabs it and throws over to first base for the out, and that does it. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning, and Paul Campbell gets in there, and he proceeds to smash the first one that he sees over to left field, and Mitchell runs to grab it, throws to second base. The throw is late. Campbell's in there with a double, and here comes Johnny Lipon now, runner on second base, and a chance to do something. And there's one low to Johnny, 1-0 the count, and there's a little roll over to the over to what was that? That was over to the left side, over to third base. Kennedy grabs it, reaches with his bare hand, throws to first base, not in time. Lipon ends up at first base with a base hit. Runners on first and third now, and here comes Neil Barry. And now we have to look and say, well, what are we going to do? Do we want to hit and run? Do we want to bunt? Do we want to just swing away? Let's try to hit and run. I know that Lipon's not a great stealer. Barry spoils a good pitch. 0-1 now the count. We're going to swing away here. There's the pitch out. We knew that was going to come, 1-1 now. There's a nasty slider, and that just cut outside. 2-1's the count. Now is where you want to run again. There's one ground to the right side for a base hit, and that's grounded right into that hole vacated by Joe Gordon, as he had to worry about Lipon potentially stealing. And that's the way that you play hit and run, and that is another run for the Tigers. 3-0 Detroit, and here comes Ted Gray, runners on first and third, and with nobody out. And we're going to have Gray go ahead and swing away instead of bunting with him. Takes one high, 1-0 now the count, and he swings and misses, 1-1. There's one fouled straight back, 1-2 now the count on Gray. And he fights another one off, 1-2 still. And he swung all the way on that check swing, and that's the first out. Here comes George Kell now. Get a little bit better pitcher in there, or better hitter in there. He takes a strike, 0-1 now the count on him. And there's one that hits the inside corner, 0-2. And there's a hard hit ground ball down the third baseline. That one is fair, and that scores one. We're going to send Barry and see if he can score as well. And they get Barry at the plate for the out, but Kell winds up with the double, scores one, and the score now 4-0 Tigers. And here comes Johnny Groth with a runner on second base. And Johnny Groth takes a ball and a strike now, 1-1 the count on Johnny. And he belts that one over to the other way into right field. Peck just able to go back there and make the catch, and that does it. But the Tigers able to get 2 runs in that inning. 4-0 Tigers. We go to the top of the 5th inning, and as I was saying at the outset, this is not the way I thought this was going to happen. Joe Gordon up there, and he swings and misses, and the count on him suddenly is 0-1. Now it's 0-2. Takes a fastball high, 1-2 now the count. There's a ground ball over to Lipon at short, and he makes the play over to Campbell at first, and that's the first out. Here's Jim Hegan. Takes one high, 1-0 the count on Jim, and takes a strike, 1-1 now. There's a pitch close, but low and away, 2-1, and there's one that's fouled back, 2-2 now the count on Hegan, and that's a strike 3, and there by Ted Gray gets his first strikeout of the game. 1 strikeout, 1 walk. We thought he was going to do pretty poorly at the beginning. 1-1 now the count, an early win. Who's the next hitter in there, and he pops one up. That one's just foul, 1-2 now, and there's a fly ball over to Wirtz in right field, and that does it. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning, and here is Vic Wirtz. He watches a strike go by and pops one to the left side, and that was foul. 0-2 now the pitch on him, and he lines one past Werner first base on the right side for a base hit, and he's the runner on first base, and here comes Hoot Evers now, runner on first base, nobody out, bottom of the 5th inning. And there's one high to Evers, 1-0 the count. And there's a ground ball just to the right of Gordon. He can't get that. That's a background. That's a base hit to the right of Gordon, rather. So that's a base hit over to center field. And we are going to play it safe with Wirtz, who's not much of a runner. And that will be the end for the starter early win. Sam Zoldak ends up being the new pitcher for Cleveland. Aaron Robinson comes out there to take his cuts. And there's runners on first and second base with nobody out. And we're going to let Robinson swing away, though he's only hitting 107. There's one up and in there for a ball. 1-0 the count now to Robinson. And he fouls one off, 1-1 now. And there's one ripped to right center on a low line. That scores one, sends Evers to third base. And it's 5-0 now Tigers, and here comes Paul Campbell. And as I said, this is not what I was expecting. There's a ball to Campbell, 1-0 the count. That one's hit well to left field, not quite well enough, but good enough to score the runner. Hoot Evers scores run number 6 for the Tigers. And here comes Johnny Lipon, only 1 out, mind you, bottom of the 5th inning, and 2 more runs in this one for Detroit. As you can see, there's a little fly ball rather over to Peck in right field for the second out. And here comes Neil Barry, 6-0 Tigers now. And there's a little blooper down the left field line, and that sends Robinson to third base. Barry goes over to first base on the bloop single, and here comes Ted Gray, who's pitching a 4-hitter so far. He's struck out twice already today, and 1-1 is the count on him. And there's a foul ball, 1-2. And Gray hits a breaking ball that was just foul, unfortunately for him. And there's another little pop-up and foul ground. That one's not caught. Fouls another one off. Still 1-2 is the count. And there's a little ground ball over to Boudreau, the shortstop, makes the play to first base for the out. We go to the top of the 6th inning. Here's Larry Doby. And there's a ball on Larry, 1-0 the count. Now it's 2-0. And there's a fastball high, 3-0 now the count. And Gray is starting to fall apart a little bit. Shouldn't have praised him. Doby's the runner on first base. Here's Lou Boudreau. There's a ground ball over to Lipon at shortstop. Flips over to Barry for 1. Over to Campbell at first for the double play. And just like that, there's 2 outs. And here's Hal Peck. 1 pitch, 2 outs. Peck fouls one back. 0-1 the count. There's another one fouled into the seats. 0-2. And there's a fly ball rather over to Wirtz in right field for the out, and that does it. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Here comes George Kell, 6-0 Tigers. There's a ball to Kell, 1-0 the count. There's a ground ball over to Boudreau, who makes the play, throws over to first base for the out. Now here's Johnny Groth. And 1-1 now the count on Johnny. There's a ground ball over to shortstop. Boudreau makes the play over to first base for the out, 2 away. Here's Vic Wertz. Wertz is 2 for 2 today, hitting .346 this season. And 1-1 is the count on Vic. And there's a little foul ball, 1-2 now, and it's still 1-2. And there's a broken bad ground ball over to Joe Gordon at second base. Makes the throw to first for the out. We go to the top of the 7th inning, and here is Mickey Verdon. And there's a fastball for a strike on him, and there's a check swing, and that's strike 2. 0-2 now the count on Vernon. There's a ground ball over to Barry, and he makes another great play this time on it, but Vernon ends up at first base for that base hit. And that's another one, just like I said, where I suspect that it was the poor fielding that caused the base hit more than anything else. At any rate, it's still 6-0 Tigers. I don't think they mind that much. There's a ball to Dale Mitchell and another ball, 2-0 the count now. Mitchell 0 for 2 today, 3-0 now, and Ted Gray is losing his control once again. That's walk number 3 he's given up as he can't get over the plate to Mitchell. Swing and a miss by Bob Kennedy, the next batter. It's a ground ball over to Kell, who goes to Barry the short way for the force out at second base. Vernon moves to third, and Kennedy is the runner on first base, and there's one out here for Joe Gordon, top of the 7th inning. And Detroit does need 2 to get out of this one. 0-2 now the count on Gordon. There was a foul ball again, 0-2 still. And that one's fouled off as well. And there's another one fouled off, still 0-2. That one's up high, 1-2 now the count. And there's another foul. A lot of foul balls. And there's another one he lays off, 2-2 now the count. Another foul ball. And there's a ground ball over to Vernon at third base. He'll go to Barry at second for 1. Can't get a throw off there. And Vernon scores the first run of the game for the Indians here in the top of the 7th. 6-1 Tigers now. There's a fastball by Jim Hegan for a strike. 0-1 now the count. 1-1 now as there's a ball that's way too high. And there's one wide of the plate. Now it's 2-1. And there's one high, 3-1. There's a ground ball over to Lipon at short, and he makes the play over to Barry at second for the out. And we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. 6-1 still Tigers now. Hoot Evers is the first batter up there. Takes a ball high and then fouls one off. 1-1 the count now on Evers. And there's one line towards first base, and that's in the corner. That's going to be 3 for Evers. And I do want to check this out really quickly just to see. He had 6 triples in real life, and that's I thought he had another one here. That's the second one so far in this replay. Not too bad for April. We're only on April 30th. Here's Aaron Robinson now, and I have to click this time. And there's a ball to Robinson, 1-0 now, 1-1 now the count. There's a line shot over to third base, and Evers is doubled off. Poor base running over there by Evers, who was still thinking about that triple that he hit. And that's a pretty rare play, if I do say so myself. And we're going to take a little souvenir photo of that one. That'll be a good one to bring up a little bit later on. I've been saving and sharing these on my blog. If you haven't seen my blog, check it out, the baseballreplayjournal.substack.com. And it's fun to look at these after a little while. 1-1 now the pitch on Paul Campbell. And there's a fastball inside, 2-1 now, 3-1 now on Campbell. And there's one low, and there's the walk. Sam Zoldak had a lot of good luck so far in this inning, but he's not out of it yet. And here's Johnny Lipon, and there's one that gets away from the catcher. That's actually going to be a wild pitch on Zoldak, and Campbell moves up to second base. Runner on second base now for Johnny, and he hits a fly ball that Doby gets control of over there in center field for the out. We go to the top of the 8th inning, and we'll see a pinch hitter, Ray Boone, in there for Zoldak. And Gray misses with his first pitch, and there's a strike. 1-1 now the count. 2-1 now. Gray's over that 100 mark, and there's a fly ball over to Johnny Groth in center field for the first out. Here's Larry Doby. 1-0 now the count as Doby takes the ball, and there's another ball on him, 2-0. There's a hard hit ground ball over to first base. Campbell grabs it, flips over to Gray for the out, 2 away. Lou Boudreau now, and there's a strike to him, and a ball, 1-1 the count. And there's one inside, 2-1. And there's another ball to Boudreau, 3-1 now. That one's fouled back, full count on Boudreau. And there's another ground ball over to Kell this time, and he makes the play and throws over to first base for the out. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. And who happens to come up here but Satchel Paige? How old was Satchel Paige? Was he like 49 this year? 42. Not as old as I thought, but he was still pretty old. But the always young Satchel Paige is out there now with his first appearance of this season. And there's a strike and then a ball to Neil Barry. 1-1 the count now. There's one downstairs, 2-1. And there's a strike in the inside corner, 2-2 now the count. and that's fouled back, still 2-2. And man, backs him. I love this. Backs him off the plate with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. That's another one that you don't necessarily see every single day. And how would you like to face one of those fastballs? Man, I tell you, Satchel Paige comes in there. Was he really throwing 100 miles an hour when he was 42 years old? I mean, that's pretty impressive. That's Nolan Ryan territory there, but unfortunately couldn't get that one over the plate. Full count now, and there's a line or a fly ball over to Peck in right field for the first out. Here's Ted Gray now. And the home crowd stands and applauds Ted Gray, appreciative of his performance. And that's another one of those little descriptive things that I was actually looking for this one. This is one that's been in Diamond Mine for a couple of years. I remember this from many, many years ago. But it's a pretty nice little piece of play-by-play when you have a pitcher who's pitching particularly well. And Ted Gray's been keeping the world champions guessing here. 6-1 Tigers, and there's a ground ball by Gray over to Vernon at first base, and Mickey does it himself. And here's George Kell now up with 2 outs. There's a ball on him, 1-0 the count. And Kell gets into left field, but not quite enough, and Mitchell's there for the catch. We go to the top of the 9th inning, and let's see if Ted can do it. Thurman Tucker is going to be the pinch hitter here, and that's not what I was expecting to see. Thurman Tucker up there takes a strike, and there's one in under the hands, 1-1 now the count. There's another strike, 1-2 as Tucker swings and misses. Tucker now takes a ball, 2-2, and there's a full count on him. And that is high, and Gray has lost him, and there's a runner on first base now with Mickey Vernon. And there's a forkball that bounces off the plate, 1-0 now the count. Gray not close with that one either, 2-0. And there's a fat strike there in there for a strike, 2-1. Now it's 3-1 though, and Gray having some problems. And there's ball 4, and Gray has walked 2 in a row here. Here comes Dale Mitchell, and Mitchell swings and misses. And there's a cross-up pitch, 1-1 now the count. Now it's 1-2. He's finally ahead of a hitter. Mitchell couldn't hold away from that one, and that's a strikeout. And there's one away here in the top of the 9th inning. So Gray has walked 5, struck out 2, and here comes Bob Kennedy, and he takes the ball. And there's another breaking pitch in the dirt, 2-0 now the count. The fastball that's belted, and it's hit straight over to Groth, who makes the play. Tucker moves over to third base, but with 2 outs. And here's Joe Gordon. One more for Ted. Let's see if he can do it. There's a pitch inside, 1-0 now the count. And there's one that goes foul, just wide of first base. And there's another one hit to that first base side for a base hit. So the Indians have a hit here in the top of the 9th, or have a run rather in the top of the 9th. And have a hit, I suppose you should say that as well. 6-2 now, and that's only the 6th hit for Cleveland this game. And here comes Jim Hegan. And we're going to keep Ted in there. 1-0 now the count on Hegan, 2-0 now. And there's a fastball for a strike, 2-1. There's one hit straight over to Vic Wertz in right field, and he makes the play for the out. And that does that, and Satchel Paige does not get the chance to hit, unfortunately for us, and that's the end of the ball game. Detroit wins this one 6-2. Not a particularly close game, and at the beginning I thought that Cleveland was going to run away with it, but you don't get all the breaks, do you? There's the end of that one. Hope you enjoyed this game. I'll see you back tomorrow with a little bit more action, and we'll see you then. Take care. Bye.